So it's come to my attention. People don't know that I have a Magic vs. Bird era roster, and which is why I also have all the draft classes. So I actually have a fully accurate roster, free agents, all the roster spots, everything. So first off, free agency. Actually, no, we'll go to players in 76ers. So this is the top three players. Larry Bird was on another level at this time. Magic, yes, you could say he was like arguably as good, but you'll see why. In the simulation, Magic still puts up basically a triple double every season, and Larry won't put up his numbers, so it's weird. But anyways, the 76ers, we got Moses Malone, Julius Erving, Andrew Tooney, Maurice Cheeks, Bobby Jones, Sam Williams, Wes Matthews, Clint Richardson, Mark Ivoroni, Franklin Edwards, Clement Johnson, Leo Rawtons, Sedell Threat, Charles Jones, and Bruce Kuzinski. Moses Malone definitely won MVP this year, and he's just a board man. I mean, Moses Malone is crazy good. We got the Bucks with Sidney Moncrief, Marquise Johnson, Bob Lanier, Junior Bridgman, Paul Pressey, Alton Lister, Mike Dunleavy, Nate Archibald, Kevin Greavy, Paul McKeskey, Charlie Chris, Randy Brewer, Harvey Catchings, Linton Towns, and Lorenzo Romar. We got the Washington Bullets with Jeff Ruland, Ricky Sobers, Greg Mallard, Frank Johnson, Rick Mahorn, Darren Day, Jeff Malone, Charles Davis, Joe Kopicki, Tom McMillan, Dwayne Scales, Brian Warwick, Mike Gibson, and Michael Wilson. We got the Chicago Bulls, led by Orlando Woolridge, Quinton Daly, and Reggie Theus, with Ennis Watley, Dave Corzin, Mitchell Wiggins, Dave Greenwood, Rod Higgins, Sidney Green, Juwan Oldham, Wallace Bryant, Ronnie Lester. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers with World B. Free, Cliff Robinson, John Bagley. We got Geoff Houston, Lonnie Shelton, Phil Hubert, Roy Hinson, Paul Thompson, Jeff Cook, Stuart Granger, John Garris, Ben Poquet, and Geoff Crompton. The Celtics are led by Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, and Dennis Johnson. Then we got Gerald Henderson, Cedric Maxwell, Danny Ainge, Scott Wedman, Quinn Buckner, ML Carr, Carlos Clark, Greg Kite. The San Diego Clippers, we have Terry Cummings, Norm Nixon, Bill Walton, James Donaldson, Michael Brooks, Derek Smith, Ricky Pierce, Craig Hodges, Greg Kessler, Jerome Whithead, Hank McDowell, Billy McKinney, and Hutch Jones. The Atlanta Hawks, we have Dan Roundfield, Dominique Wilkins, and Doc Rivers. These are both rookie. Yeah, year two, technically Dominique Wilkins. But then it's rookie Doc Rivers. And then Dan Roundfield counts as a rookie, but he wasn't, clearly. Trey Rollins, we got Eddie Johnson, or Eddie L. Johnson, Johnny Davis, Sly Williams, Mike Glenn, Randy Whitman, Scott Hastings, Ricky Brown, Armand Hill, Billy Poltz, and John Pannone with Mark Landsberger. We have the Jazz with Adrian Dantley, Ricky Green, Dale Griffith, Mark Eaton, John Drew, Thurl Bailey, Jeff Wilkins, Jerry Eves, Rich Kelly, Bob Hansen, Tom Boswell, and J.J. Anderson. We have the Kings with Eddie Johnson, Larry Drew, Mike Woodson, Billy Knight, Joe Merriweather, Steve Johnson, Lissell Thompson, Kevin Lauder, Mark Olberding, Don Buse, Dan Settle, Ed Neely, and Larry. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. We have the Knicks, led by Bernard King, with Bill Cartwright, Rory Sparrow, Ray Williams, Darrell Walker, Trent Tucker, Truck Robinson, Lewis Orr, Marvin Webster, Ernie Grunfeld, Rudy Macklin, and Eric Fernsten and Len Elmore. Then we have the Lakers. Yeah, stacked Lakers team. By the way, we have Magic, Kareem, James Worthy, who ends up becoming a 95 plus if the simulation goes good and he doesn't bust. Um, Michael Cooper, same with him, ends up as a 90. Bob McAdoo, Jamal Wilkes, Byron Scott, who ends up as like a 90. Mike McGee, Larry Spriggs, Kurt Rambis, Swen Nader, Mitch Kupchak, Calvin Garrett, and Eddie Jordan. We have the Mavericks with Mark Aguirre, Rolando Blackman, Pat Cummings, Brad Davis, Jay Vincent, Dale Ellis, Derek Harper, Kurt Nymphius, Bill Garnett, Jim Spinarkle, Roger Fegley, and Mark West with Elston Turner. We have the New Jersey Nets with Otis Birdsong, Buck Williams, Daryl Dawkins, Michael Ray Richardson, Albert King, Kelvin Ramsey, Darwin Cook, Mike Gaminsky, Mike O'Corin, Bill Wallaby, Reggie Johnson, Foots Walker, and Mark Jones. We have the Denver Nuggets with Alex English, Kiki Vandeweghe, Dan Issel, Rob Williams, Danny Shays, T.R. Dunn, Mike Evans, Howard Carter, Richard Anderson, Bill Hanslick, Kenny Dennard, Dave Robish, and Keith Edmiston with Anthony Roberts to round the team up. We have the Pacers with a rookie, sophomore, Clark Kellogg, Herb Williams, Butch Carter, Steve Stepanovich, George Johnson, Jerry Sitching, Brooks Stepe, Kevin McKenna, Sidney Lowe, Jim Thomas, Leroy Combs, Tracy Jackson, and Granville Waiters. We have the Detroit Pistons with a junior, Isaiah Thomas, Kelly Chopuka, who's also a junior, Bill Lambier, John Long, Vinnie Johnson, Terry Tyler, Kent Benson, Walker Russell, Cliff Livingston, Earl Curington, Ray Tolbert, David Thirdkill, and Lionel Hollins. We have the Rockets with rookie Ralph Sampson, Robert Reed, Lewis Lloyd, Alan Levell, Rodney McCray, Phil Ford, Caldwell Jones, Joe Bryant, Craig Elo, Chuck Nevitt, Terry Teagle, James Bailey, Major Jones, Wally Walker, and Elvin Hayes right before he ends up retiring. But he still put up really good numbers, and then he just fell off this season. So, yeah. Speaking of Kobe Bryant's dad, type. We have the San Antonio Spurs with George Gerby, Artis Gilmore, Mike Mitchell, Johnny Moore, Gene Banks, Edgar Jones, Fred Roberts, Mark McNamara, Ron Brewer, John Paxson, Steve Lingenfelter, Dave Batten, Daryl Lockhart, and Bob Miller. We have the Suns with Walter Davis, Maurice Lucas, James Edwards, Larry Nance, Kyle Macy, Rod Foster, Alvin Adams, Paul Westphal, Rory White, Alvin Scott, Rick Roby, Charles Pittman, Mike Sanders, and Johnny High. We have the Sonics with Jack Sigma, Gus Williams, Tom Chambers, David Thompson, Al Wood, Reggie King, Danny Vrains, Fred Brown, John Sunvold, Steve Halls, Charles Bradley, Clay Johnson, Scooter McRae, and Steve Hayes. We got the Blazers with Jim Paxson, Kenny Carr, Calvin Nat, Darnell Valentine, Michael Thompson, Fat Lieber, Wayne Cooper, Clyde Drexler, rookie, Jeff Lamp, Audi Norris, Pete Verhoeven, Tom Pialtrowski. And then the last team is the Warriors with Purvis Short, Joe Barry Carroll, Sleepy Floyd, Mickey Johnson, Larry Smith, Lester Connor, Mike Bratz, Don Collins, Darren Tillis, Russell Cross, Chris Engler, and Pace Mannion. And then, of course, we can go over to the free agency where we have Brian Winters sitting. He is in the Hall of Fame, but he retired at the age of 29. basically, and I, just wanted to give him a chance back in the league. Or he retired when he was 30, but you know, he he's not in the Hall of Fame. My bad. He has his jersey retired by the Bucks already in like the simulation. Campy Russell, Perry Moss, Doug Collins again retired too early for me, so we put him in. Larry Keenan retired too early, put him in. George McGinnis, Russ Schoen, Harvey Knuckles, Vince Taylor, Gus Gerard, Royland Bond, Reggie Hanna, Austin Carr, James Silas, Jim Jones, George Johnson, Tony Brown, Steve Trumbo, Tony Guy, Pete Maravich, Sidney Wicks, Geoff Petrie, Phil Chenier, Frank Brikowski, John Grieg, U.S. Reed, Michael Holton, Carlton Neverson, Peter Gudmundsson, Ryan Wright, Jose Slaughter, Henry Bibby, Antoine Carr, Norm Ankrum, Chubby Cox, Norm Cook, Art Housey. So everyone in free agency is basically either really good legends who aren't in the Hall of Fame but retired really early. So like players like Larry Keenan, I'm pretty sure Doug Collins is in the Hall of Fame, but yeah, he is in the Hall of Fame, but he's literally only a four-time All-Star. He retired when he was 29 back in 1980. He only got to play 12 games that season. And then prior to that, he didn't really play a full season up until 77 to 78. So we're giving Doug Collins a chance to maybe return, maybe come back as a player. But yeah, Gus Gerard's here. There's a lot of cool free agents like Austin Carr, James Silas, Jim Jones. These people can be used as per se a trainer for like a young player. So maybe you want Jim Jones training Ralph Sampson. So you would sign Jim Jones in free agency because he's still got his badges, but he's just a lower overall. So yeah, this is the full 1983 to 84 roster. Every team has their full roster, which what they actually had when they were playing. So if you have any suggestions, any pet peeves, anything you want to pick at, let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure everything is 99% accurate, including even weights. Overall wise, it's based off of how they played in that season, so I can try to get an accurate sim. So like in this season, of course, Larry Bird averaged 24, 2 steals a game, about 7 assists and 10 rebounds, and he actually won MVP this year. So clearly I would have him as the best player because he won the MVP, then Moses Malone, then Magic Johnson. I'm pretty sure the MVP voting for this year, it was Magic at 3, Moses was at 10, but Bernard King was second in voting, which, but yeah, so pretty sure that is everything. This is every roster. We went through all the teams, and of course we have every draft class to go with it. So enjoy the rosters, enjoy the draft classes. Let me know how y'all simulations go. I'm gonna see y'all in the next video. It's been your boy Trilly. Peace out.